Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Good
Thanks for
evening.
coming to my impromptu interview.
Good morning.
Good morning. I have a few topics I'd like to cover, if that's okay with you guys. And I thought I would begin on the topic of language, oxymorons. Do you understand what this word means?
Not really, no.
No understanding of this word. Well, I can
Not
see it's
really.
made up of two parts, oxy and moron. Does that make it any easier for anybody?
No.
I mean, our name says it all. We are clearly misunderstood.
Exactly. And if you break the word down, it's oxy, which I believe means sharp, and moron, which means moronic. Clearly misunderstood.
You saying it means a sharp moron?
Does that make sense?
No, it doesn't.
Makes no sense.
Why would we have a word like oxymoron when you break it down? It doesn't mean anything. A clever, a sharp moron. You know, that's like saying, can you pass me that very sharp, blunt knife?
So what you're telling
Like
me
a
is
sharp spoon.
it's a contradiction.
I wish it was a contradiction, but this doesn't even make sense. Contradictions can make sense. Corrections can make sense. But how do you get away with an oxymoron saying, pass me that blunt, sharp knife?
It doesn't
You
make
see
any
that?
sense.
Yeah, you see that other character there that resembles a Ku Klux Klan. I mean, that's like saying, pass the salt to that stupid genius. How are people getting away with it?
I don't know who is getting away with it. You're insinuating that this is a tool that someone uses.
Whoever created these words, I think are having a very good time with it. You know,
Who would create these?
I think, is that a question for me?
I think the question was, who would create a word to intentionally cause confusion?
People that want to have you confused.
And who would that be? Who would want to confuse people?
Well, if there's money in it, you would want to confuse people. I know this man that deals with mortgages. He told me what a mortgage means. It means a death pledge. I'm thinking to myself, if the ordinary high street man or a woman walking down those streets, if they wanted a home and it said death pledges on the doorway, will they ever buy a death pledge? If you ever named something for what it is, would you buy it? I mean, would you buy a death pledge?
Not if I understood what a death pledge was. If it was bundled up in another word that I didn't understand, maybe I could be tricked into buying one.
Like
what you're
like
saying is there's,
sorry.
I was just about to say what you're saying is there's deception to confuse what the word you're deploying is, what you're saying or what you're buying. You think you're doing or buying one thing, but actually the intentions are completely different.
Yeah.
So in the terms of business, how would that make sense? Why would you want to create these things, these oxymorons, these death pledges? To create a business is to create revenue and things, and that obviously death pledge is pledging your death. Why would you want to kill something if you're trying to create a business? It doesn't make sense.
Since I am the spirited man here, can I play the role of a banker?
Go ahead.
Play the role of a banker.
Please do.
Yes, please.
Well, if I found out a mechanism where I can remove 80% of your life energy, life force, commercial energy, your sweat equity, and all I had to do was just get you to believe a one particular word means the direct opposite, I would ask myself, well, how much money can I make from making misleading description statements to you and then claim, well, you should have known better? Like mortgage, it quite literally is something that will haunt people if you was to read the lines to your to your grave, and it's passed on from generation to generation. So how valuable is that to me in financial gain? It's quite a good investment, really, keeping people ignorant, because they will just simply always consume from you. You are always the end user. You come to me as the banker for loans, for mortgages, for houses, to educate your children on, and I own the entire system to keep you in a perpetual state of ignorance, where you are buying debt pledges from me, which you innocently thought was called a mortgage, and it somehow meant you owned your own home. Sounds like a good business deal to me.
Clearly
Sounds like a
sounds
good
to me
business
like
deal for the bank. Doesn't sound like a good business deal for the people.
It sounds like an uncomfortable contract. Only one person or one side benefits.
a pyramid scheme.
Well, I, as a banker, would say to
mean,
you,
not on a level plane.
well, these are just arguments, I would say to you. What I would say is it's winner takes all. That's what I'm after. You're talking about some sort of win-win situation. You know, why would I want to split my profits with anybody else by getting a win-win situation? I only make 50%. Why can't I just go for, like the good banker I am, 100% and just make myself the winner on that deal?
Because
So-
it's done on
Once
not
the loan's been paid off, the
the
mortgage has
real
been paid off.
contract.
Is that the end of the mortgage once the money's been returned?
Are you asking me as a banker?
Yes.
No, once you pay it off, you become my tenant.
So
Is
even
that
though
what
I've
you
paid
do
off
by
the loan,
win-win?
I own nothing at the end. Is that what you're telling me?
Well, no, you'll have tenancy rights. You will have the rights of a tenant. You know, I'm not totally ruthless, am I? I do give you some rights. One of them is that you still continue paying, and that your children are tied to that mortgage. So when they're of an age, I expect them to take a mortgage as well. If not, I'll come after your home.
And you can just take that if you want.
Yeah, I'll just put some false claims in to the courts, and they'll pursue it for me. And eventually, you know, they'll terrorize you, the court, so much that you just want to walk away, give up, like the good little people that you folks are.
I mean, it sounds like a great contract. Where do I sign?
Well, you see, being the banker that I am, I'm not stupid enough for me to produce such documents. It might put me in prison. So I'll get my solicitor to do it, and then he can pass it on to your banker, and your banker can witness it, but we're not going to sign anything. And we'll just get you to believe we've given you something. But in reality, what you have done is that you have forfeited your own land, your own heritage, your rights, for me to take it over as you pledging your bond with me to transfer some digital generated numbers into somebody else's account. So because you'll never see it, and then I'll send a piece of paper saying that you own the property, but it's the bank's property. But I will never see any of these documents, and certainly I will never write them. I don't want to go to prison.
So you're telling me that in the beginning, though I've signed up to this contract, you actually do not lend me any money to buy anything.
Well, how can I possibly lend you anything? I don't have anything. I'm a banker, for God's sakes. I do banking.
It sounds like you're not alone in this enterprise of yours. It sounds like you have some connection to the courts and different forces to carry this off. Is that correct?
Yeah, I own the courts. I pay the judges because they do banking for me. The courts are a bank, and they collect money, or on a rare occasions, we might even pay out money. But it is a bank. That's why you go to the court. That's why you go and see the bench, which is another word for a bank. And that's all that is. And he does